Module 1, Job Requirements and HRM Functions. Let's first look at the most important element in human resources management. A job is to HRM as an atom is to chemistry. A job is a group of related activities and duties. A job is a basic unit of organization. These units are grouped to accomplish a task or a goal or an objective. Tasks which are related, such as answering the phone and replying to customer concerns, and writing letters in response to queries from customers, are usually grouped in order that employees can be trained to do them more easily. They can then understand what is expected of them and can be evaluated according to the accomplishment of these tasks. In addition, others can understand what is being done by certain employees and how their own jobs fit into the organization. A position refers to the different duties and the responsibilities associated with a single employee. This description of a position sounds very similar to a job, doesn't it? To distinguish between jobs and positions, remember that there can be many positions but only one job. For example, suppose you get a summer job as a camp counselor. Many camp counselors are required, and we must recruit, select, train, and pay each of the people occupying the position of camp counselor. But there is only one job, that is, the job description for each camp counselor is the same, the selection criteria are the same, all are trained in the same way, and all are paid the same amount of money. Thus, any number of identical positions is referred to as one job. A job family refers to a group of jobs with similar characteristics. Receptionists, clerks, and secretaries can all be labeled administrative support. The second question I asked is, why are jobs so important? Obviously, in a macro sense, people need the money gained from working, and this money is circulated into the economy, which enables others to be employed, and so the chain goes round. But looking at jobs from a micro or organizational perspective, we see that jobs play important roles. 1. Provide employment. Without a formal way of describing work, managers will have difficulty determining how to select or pay employees, and thus it would be nearly impossible to create the jobs that provide employment. 2. Achieve organizational goals. By organizing work into meaningful clusters, managers can coordinate a number of tasks into jobs, which are then coordinated with other jobs, enabling the organization to accomplish a huge volume of work. By analyzing job descriptions and making sure that there are no duplicated tasks, work is more efficient. By organizing work into job units, we try to avoid duplication, or its opposite, whereby no one is doing the necessary work. To illustrate, suppose that you are operating a small business which sells hats. The sales reps sell the hats while the factory produces them. But who is responsible for the task of listening to customer complaints about quality? Perhaps the sales rep, because he is in daily contact with the customer, yet he is not responsible for the quality of the product. Maybe the factory, which is responsible for quality, should be handling the complaints, but they have no contact with the customer. So we have a situation where either both will try to handle the complaint and get onto each other's turf, thus duplicating work, or neither will handle the complaint, thereby neglecting an important task. 3. Providing goods and services. Obviously, the efficient organization of tasks enables the delivery of goods and services. The final products and services are the result of efforts of many people who do their individual tasks. In my previous example, a hat is not only the outcome of factory workers who are involved in its production, rather it is the work of every person who procures the fabric for the hat, delivers the materials needed to the factory workers, and even the person who delivers the hats to the shop, and the sales rep who sell the hats to the customers. Job specifications refer to the kinds of skills or knowledge or experience needed to do a job. Formally, job specification refers to a statement detailing required knowledge, skills, and abilities, KSA, of the person who is to do the job. The analysis of work and the organization of work in basic units called jobs is the cornerstone of most HRM activities. Once each job is described, we can then determine the critical knowledge, skills, and abilities needed to do that job. Job descriptions are statements of the duties, tasks, and responsibilities that make up a job. You might have been given one when you first started work, or maybe you saw a summary or brief form of a job description when you applied in response to an advertisement. The description of jobs facilitates the functioning of other HRM functions, like strategic HR planning. We need to examine the number and types of jobs in an organization to plan for future growth or new ventures. How many jobs do we need? What kinds of new jobs do we need to create? Recruitment. The HRM department needs a job description before they can prepare an advertisement, or even before they know what kind of person to hire. What are the knowledge, skills, and abilities needed? So, here we list things like the candidate must have a master's degree, or must understand spreadsheets, or be able to manage in a union environment, or be willing to work outdoors in all seasons. These lists are included in a job description and are called job specifications, a statement of the needed knowledge, skills, and abilities of the person who is to perform the job. Here is an ad which describes the knowledge, skills, and abilities needed to perform the job of a corporate account manager, which includes financial responsibility for the annual operating, capital, and transition budgets, developing and implementing activity-based costing, and supervisory responsibility for payroll. The job specifications are minimum 5 to 7 years experience in related industry, preferably managing major corporate accounts. University degree in business administration. Excellent presentation and communication skills. Strong strategic planning skills. And ability to work in a fast-paced and changing work environment. Once we have job requirements and job specifications, we can then do the following HRM recruitment. As the ad I was just reading illustrates, we need a job description in order to recruit. Of course, the owners of small companies can always just tell their friends that they are looking for someone in the warehouse for shipping, but in large companies, this is not equitable for many reasons. One is that recruiting by word of mouth is too slow and unreliable for most positions. Obviously, it violates equity principles, as we have already studied in our previous unit, because people tend to refer people like themselves, and so we won't end up with a diverse workforce. Selection. Closely tied to recruitment, this involves using the job specifications to compare candidates' qualifications against the established criteria. These job specifications have to be carefully analyzed to see if they are valid. In the past, employers usually wanted the most highly qualified people, even if the job didn't require it. For example, does a person handling sales on the floor of a retail store like the Gap need a degree? Requiring top qualifications doesn't make sense financially either, because an employer has to pay more for a university graduate to do the work than a high school graduate. Plus, the turnover rate of the university graduates may be higher, as they find the work unchallenging. Height and weight criteria can no longer be used. We replace these terms with what we want the person to be able to do. So instead of asking firefighters to be 6 feet tall and 180 pounds, we ask if they can lift a 30-pound ladder. The job description helps us know what KSAs are needed. Training and development. Supervisors will consult the job descriptions to see if there are weaknesses in the person's qualifications. For example, if the job requires a university degree, the employer might encourage a high-potential candidate to go back to school. Or if the job description specifies knowledge of presentation software and the best candidate has all the skills but this one, then a training course will easily solve the problem. If certification is required, many companies provide financial support to their employees for such certification if they feel that their existing employees have potential to grow. Performance appraisal. Many supervisors bring out the job description once a year and use it as a basis to discuss performance. The job description for a dough mixer in a bakery might read, operates mixing machine to mix ingredients for straight and sponge, yeast, doughs according to established formulas, directs other workers in fermentation of dough, and cuts dough into pieces with hand cutter. In conducting a performance appraisal, the supervisor might lead a discussion on how well the person has done or ways in which the task could be performed better. Compensation management. The main reason for establishing a job description with requirements and specifications is to establish rates of pay. We will be spending a lot of time looking at this a little later. The building block, the essential first step, is to write the job description. Without a job description, we might have one supervisor say that his administrative assistant is worth $40,000 a year, while in fact the job is nothing but typing, filing, and getting coffee. Another supervisor whose assistant has the same job title might be justified in asking $40,000 because this assistant arranges board meetings, negotiates with suppliers, responds to questions from the media, and so on. This helps us establish relative worth. I will be returning to the important topic of relative worth in Unit 9.